And we are live. Hello, everybody. Forgot to put my headset on here. Now maybe I can hear properly. Give me 1 sec to get set up like every time. Okay, perfect. Well, welcome everybody who's watching us now and who's going to watch us in the future. I noticed many people have been watching the replay. I don't know if I go too late at night sometimes for a lot of people, but anyways, it's good. So people will start rolling in here shortly. You have a black screen, do you? You shouldn't. But anyways, hello, Josh. How are you? Thank you. Glad to hear my audio is good. Hello, Jason from Fish Tropic. Good to see you this evening. I don't know who else is in yet. Oh, we got Fusion Fox is in. Hello, Connor. Yeah, looks like we're A-okay. So I hope everybody's doing absolutely great tonight. I don't have a guest tonight. You're stuck with just me tonight, but I hate this stupid thing. There we go. You're just stuck with me tonight, but I got some pretty cool things to look at tonight, I think. And also, I guess one thing I don't do on my live streams is I never really introduce myself. I just expect everybody knows who I am, but not everybody does. So I do get some new people watching my live stream. So my name is Jesse, and I do kind of do this JN Aquarium thing. We have a JN Aquarium supply online store as well. If a moderator wants to put that up, that would be great. Yeah, and what we do here is we breed fish, we keep fish, and I'm just a fish hobbyist that sells a bit of stuff and likes to keep some different and unique types of fish. So yeah, welcome if you're new. So yeah, what are we going to do tonight? So what we're going to do tonight is there's going to be a lot of pleco talk tonight, Ancestris to be specific. It's going to be basically I got some brand new babies that I just pulled out of a cave an hour ago. And then I'm going to show you that compared to like 2-week-old babies that were pulled out of that exact same cave with the exact same father. Can't be guaranteed on a mother because I breed that Ancestris group in a harem. I have 2 males and about 8 females in that tank. So you don't really know what female it was, and sometimes more than one female breeds in the cave with the male at one time as well. So you can usually tell that by spawn size, and or when you look in the cave, I shine a flashlight in and I can see the different egg clusters in different places within the cave, and that's usually a good indication that it was more than one female. Yes, Josh, I am Canadian. I'm from Orillia, Ontario. So welcome. I see you're from London. You're about 3 hours away from me. Okay. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to show you guys also, I have a tank with some guppies. I think there's one tiger barb that I bred. Actually, it's a baby of mine. There's some Odessa babies in there and some really cool long fin plecos. These are going to be a future breeding group of mine. So I'm going to display them in a second, and that'll be for you guys to critique them if you like, or check them out. Let me know what you think. I think they're pretty awesome. They have extremely nice fins, extremely long fins, and they have a bit of a unique color to them. The color has faded a little bit as they've gotten bigger. They're almost a breeding size. Yeah, anytime. They should breed pretty much anytime now. But yeah, they have, when they were way younger, they had a really significant blue tint to them. Whereas now it's very faded. It's hardly even noticeable, but I'm hoping through line breeding them again, that we make that gene a prominent gene, and that gene pops out even more, so we get a little bit more of a blue tinge to their babies. That's the hope, anyways. This is the 6th generation of line breeding these guys. I've played around. The original parents were both albinos, but they did have some underlying brown genes, and just through manipulation of breeding daughter to grandfather, daughter to father, back and forth, seeing that color change a little bit each breeding, this is what we've gotten to. We could be very far from having a dominant bluish color to them, but this is the start at least. All right, just check the chat here real quick. Kim, no, I do not have any cherry shrimp for sale right now. I do have some crystal. I don't have any Neocaridina for sale. I have some Caridina. I have some lower grade blue bolts for sale. I have some crystal reds for sale that are very nice, double S crystal reds that breed true. But yeah, no cherry shrimp right now. Sorry. Hi, Fishy Fun 57. Thank you for joining us. Josh, do I get summer tubs going? I did last year, but to be quite honest with you, I don't think I'm going to this year. It was hardly worth it for me, to be honest. It's London's a little bit warmer than here, not much, but a little bit. Here, I don't think it's worth it. Honestly, not for Ancestris anyways. Ancestris, I wouldn't even put outside because I don't think they're going to benefit a lot from being outside, whereas some fish like guppies and platies, a lot of the small live bearers really benefit from going outside because they eat all the mosquito larvae and whatnot. And Ancestris will to a certain extent, but it won't benefit them the way they do. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. Maybe London, and if it's worth it for you, I already got too much going on inside, so that's probably why I'm a little more apprehensive about going outside. But I did last year, and I did have some success. It was just a short season, and I pretty much used a heater with it pretty much the whole season. So for me, that kind of it made it not worth it. I might as well just have a tank inside where I can view them better, everything else. That's the other thing I did not enjoy about summer tubbing last year. And that's that I didn't have a great view of the fish. Now, if you're working with something like koi or goldfish or something like that, that's colorful, they're meant for ponds, they're big. I'm all for a pond or a big tub, but for the small fish, I don't know. I enjoy them much more in an aquarium. So I hope that answers my opinion of the question anyways. Hello, Small Fry Aquatics. Thanks for joining us. Hello, Petsaholic. Thanks for joining us. I see over here on my iPad, Chewy just joined us. Here he is. Very good. So perfect. I'm going to, the fish I was just talking about, I'll put the cam on for them now. I have a camera on them, and I put a piece of zucchini in for them to eat. So they should be out and very visible. There they are. Hopefully that camera's not too choppy. Yeah, I will say I enjoyed the tub outside. I'm a smoker still. I have that bad habit, but where I would smoke out on my balcony, I put a tub, and I really enjoyed watching while I was out having a smoke. Anyways, like the sound of the water as well. Yes, you do, Chewy. They're actually magazines for the most part. There are a lot of old aquarium hobbyists and just aquarium magazines. A lot of them, they're kind of nostalgic to me because when I started fish keeping as like a 12-year-old kid. That's pretty much all I had for information at that time about a lot of fish. So I still like keeping them around. I leaf through them once in a while. But anyways, here's those Ancestris I was talking about. These are very young. These guys are, I'm going to guesstimate at 6 months old, maybe a little bit less. But from what I'm seeing so far out of them, I'm seeing some really nice qualities. They have some really nice colorations. I have not called this group at all yet. This is a group that I let grow out, and I will call them soon. There's a couple that do need to come out of the group that I don't want bred. But for the most part, most of them are pretty good. I'm going for the white on the tails. I enjoy the white on the tails. So the ones that have more white on the tails than others will probably stay in the gene pool. But yeah, I find them a very striking Ancestris. There is a couple males in the group. There's some small horns starting on a couple of them. But yeah, I'm very happy with the group. I don't know what you guys think of it. Don't really matter as long as I'm happy with it. But anyways, I love them, and these guys are what I've been trying to achieve in my fish room. I don't know if you could see the one on the very top of the zucchini there, how high that dorsal fin is. And like I said, these are very young. These guys are only about 6 months old. How big do these guys get? Body size, these guys actually start to look really, really big, and maybe a little further into the show, I will put the camera on their parents for you, because I put a piece of zucchini in there as well for them, and you can see like how that they're max size. They're 5, like the grandfather in there. Geez, he's 6 or 7 years old now. So yeah, he's getting quite old. He's not going to get any bigger, and they've always been well fed and well looked after. So I'd say that's max size. I'd say body size maximum on a big male 5 inches plus the fins, but like the fins are 3 or 4 inches long on the adults. Chewy says some of those old books are worth quite a bit of money. I had a book from the 70s that was written by Dr. Joan Norton. Enjoy your fancy sword tails and platies. That is worth a ton now. Yeah, these aren't quite that old, Chewy. Mine are just from the 90s from the most part, because that's when I was a teenager, young teenager in the early 90s. And so those are basically, that's pretty much the era I've stuck with, although I enjoy reading a lot of old fish articles and whatnot. Just a lot of the times I like to see just how people have changed their opinions or their habits on fish keeping, and how many have just stayed exactly the same. So it's neat to reminisce through them and just see how things have changed over the years a little bit. Hello, Sand Creek Aquatics. Thank you for joining us. Zen Ginger, welcome. Do you get monthly spawns or seasonal? Also, do you feed an exclusive veggie diet? Absolutely beautiful fish. Well, thank you for the compliments, Small Fry. No, I don't feed. I'll start with the feeding. I do not feed exclusively veggie. Mainly veggie, but not exclusively. A filler food, I'll call it. Let's say when I'm in a rush to feed and I'm just kind of throwing food at everybody. That's usually Bug Pro. I'll go with Northfin Bug Pro. That's it. Insect larvae, black fly larvae, and they really enjoy the protein boost that they get from that. Some foods I make them have, I'm going to say about 10% shrimp, actual raw peeled shrimp meat in the food. So they do receive that as well. And Also, I feed them Northfin. Actually, it's cichlid pellets, Northfin cichlid veggie, and I grind them up for them to sizes they can eat a little more efficiently. And they get that as well, along with a lot of zucchini. And there's another homemade fish food. I'm going to call it Pleco shrimp food that is pretty much exclusively veggie, except for the odd snail that might get in the mix. It's mainly duckweed. It's 50% duckweed, 25% spinach, 25% zucchini, and a large helping of spirulina powder as well in that food. So that one is pretty much straight up veggie, like I said, except for the odd snail that got brought in with the duckweed. So yeah, I feed a lot of veggies, but that's not it. Now, for spawning, it's hit and miss. I don't think it's seasonal. I think it depends on how well I'm maintaining the tank. I think some tanks that may get less maintenance than other tanks, I find the spawns are not as regular. So the babies I'm going to show you guys in a little bit here. I have on the desk beside me. I'm showing you ones that I just pulled out an hour ago. And these are a short fin ancestress. The male is an albino, and the female is more than likely a brown. I do have one albino female in there, but there's like 8 females in there, so chances are it wasn't her. Or it could have been her and another female, because it is a fairly good spawn. But I'm going to show you, and then I have some from 2 weeks prior to that. So to answer your question, my spawning is sporadic. Some of my tanks that I look after better than others seem to spawn more often. Like this was I get a spawn about every 2 to 3 weeks out of this tank. I think it depends on the age of the females as well. I get more spawns out of younger females. When I say younger, I'm talking a year to 3 years. And then I have some females that are over 3 years to, let's say, 4 to 6 years old. And their spawn sizes seem to diminish a little bit. Obviously, they're probably running out of eggs. And yeah, that they're spawn, and they're not quite as often. That may have to do with that I have an older male in there as well, and maybe he's not quite as spry as he used to be. So yeah, I don't know. Right now I have 4 tanks I draw fry from, and I generally at least monthly get spawn, sometimes every 2 or 3 weeks. Thank you, Josh. Yes, the white does. I love the white on the tail. Not many knew that Dr. Norton's degree was in genetic botany. Chewy, you're just a wealth of information. Josh, so I used to, Josh, but I just have too many now. It costs me too much money to feed Repashy. I honestly haven't fed Repashy in probably, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. I essentially make my own Repashy. So so to answer your question, yes, I feed a Repashy like product. Obviously, I don't know their exact recipe, but and I don't care to. I found something that works for me. And if you're curious about it at all, I don't know if one of our moderators can find it, but I do have a video that I just did like not very long ago on making your own fish food. And then I have a much older video that requires freezing. You have to freeze that food that I put out. Yeah, so you can find that. It's a real easy recipe. You can do it at home. All you need is a blender, stove. That's about it. No, not age shaming them. Not age shame them. They've done well. They've done their time, but like I said, they do start to drop off a little bit. These are just a variety of longfin ancestrus fishy fun. Thank you, Zen. Hello, Anthony. Thank you for joining us. Chewy, I think what you're referring to is when you get the most fry out of a fish is when they're in their teenage years. Those tend to also be healthier. Yeah, it's the same as just about everything in life, right? You, I don't know, probably get trouble for saying stuff like this, but like, say you're have a 60-year-old woman trying to have a child versus, like a 22-year-old woman or 25-year-old woman having a child. The 25-year-old's probably going to have an easier time with it. So I don't think it's any different in the animal world. When you're in your prime, you're in your prime. When you're not in your prime, you're not in your prime. It's just the way it is. Jan Aquarium, you are well ahead of the curve with your placos to the extent you want to reveal your secrets. Could you talk a little bit more about how you make food? I don't know if this comment was up before I spoke about the but there it is. Thank you very much, Zen. Appreciate it. Yes, I did. There we go. See, I almost keeping up tonight. But yes, any questions you have about placos, I have no secrets. I literally have no secrets in my fish room about what I do. And I have an ideology about that. I'm a believer in sharing information. I'm a believer in if we can work together to better a species of fish or create a species of fish that we want. When I say create a species, I don't mean like from scratch, obviously, but if we can deviate a species to be more desirable to us in our tanks, I'm all for it. And I believe I spoke about this the other night. It comes with a price. It always comes with a price. That nothing's free in this world, as we all know. And the price is if you are not careful with your extensive line breeding, you can run into problems. And I have in the past. I've always rectified those problems and corrected them. And it usually involved an outcross. Or a scrap of the project altogether. Or if I still own the fish that got me to the fish that are having the problems, I would change something at that point. When you heavily line breed, you can have recessive genes that are undesirable. And these recessive genes may take a while to pop up, but the smaller, and believe me, people, I'm not a biologist here. I am a dumb carpenter, okay? So if my terminology is not correct, I apologize. I just don't have it. But I know what I'm seeing, and I know what I'm trying to achieve, and I know what I have seen, and I've seen quite a bit with this. So work with my terminology a bit. So there may be a recessive gene that is undesirable. Now, what I mean by undesirable, a recessive gene that creates smaller spawns. That's a thing. You get fish that are too line bred. The genes get too tight. You can get reduced spawns. Won't spawn as often, or the spawns are smaller. And that's a sign that you're going in the wrong direction. If that's nature's way of saying, hey, we don't want this. This isn't right. So either the offspring aren't going to survive, or they're going to have deformities, or they'll be really small spawns to start with. Those are obviously all signs that you're going in the wrong direction with your breeding program. And you need to outcross. You need to actually step back a generation and outcross. And if you're still getting those issues, then you have to step back another generation and outcross. So that's a little spiel on that. If you guys want to hear more about that stuff, I can most definitely continue talking about it, because it's an important thing to talk about. And I guess I branched off from my original thought of sharing information. And this is why I like to share information, because more fish are going to live less people are going to kill their fish. More people are going to get into the hobby because they have free information at their fingertips. This has come at a cost too of people offering secondhand advice, maybe third-hand advice. We've talked about this before too, but it's a thing. It's a thing, and the wrong advice ends up being delivered at the end, which can actually deter people from entering the hobby. So I guess what I'm saying is I try to lead by example, and if I don't have the answer for somebody, guess what? I say, hey, I don't have the answer. You need to find someone who has the answer. And if more people do that, then we'll start offering better fish keeping advice. Hello, V-Stag. Hopefully we get a go Flyers, although our season got kind of messed up. I hope if they do get to play and actually go for a Stanley Cup this year, which they are on the road to, hopefully their streak continues. That's all I have to say. Not talking hockey, talking fish. But hopefully, go Flyers, go. Chewy says there are a few recessive genes that you see in fish, like albinism and a few others. You see a few of them in guppy books and see a few through guppies. Now, guppies, good point. So there's guppies in this tank as well. There are some line bred guppies in here, and there's some guppies. Most of them that you see in there are guppies that I've outcrossed and outcrossed and outcrossed. I've crossed them with Taiwans, with black Moscows. I've mixed them right up, and they don't come out all the same, but they have some pretty nice colors. Like those are all young females there. And then you'll see the odd male cruise by there, and that's a black metallic. It's a young, there's a few of them in there, I think 4 or 5 young black metallic males in that tank, and they are a pure line. There's one just swam through. So I'm waiting to see what they turn out like. I have some females in a separate tank, keeping them separated from the males right now until a couple of them are pregnant, but I want to see which males turn out the best, and they are starting to turn out pretty good. But anyways, guppies are I don't know. I'm almost out of the guppy game because I'm just tired of guppies, to be honest. And there's enough people in the guppy game now. But they're probably the most played with fish there is. They're probably the most manipulated genes fish there is. There's entire encyclopedias written on the genetics of guppies and how to manipulate them to get the color, body, fin, shapes, sizes, and colors you want. But they've developed some very bad genetics as well. A lot of humpback guppies out there, a lot of guppies and guppies as well. People blame it on water conditions and say, well, you can get curved spines and humpbacks and whatnot from poor water conditions. But what I think it is yes, maybe poor water conditions are helping the symptoms go, but I think it's too much, too close of genetics causing it as well, and it's causing defects. You'll notice with some pure strains that they do have very low birth rates just because their genes are too close. But that is one pretty guppy there. So we'll see what those offspring turn out like. All right, let's see. Where are we here? I'm a little bit behind again. Sorry, guys. Who do we have? Dragon Lair. I'm not sure if I said hi or not, but hello. And I think I did. And I think you said you got to get some of these. There, you can see the blue. I don't know. I see it anyways on that pleco that's right there right now. There's it's not prominent, but it's there. It's there for sure. None of these are for sale yet. As I was talking about with being responsible about line breeding and whatnot, I will not let any of these fish out until I know they are totally sound, good genetics, and they're not. They don't have any. They don't have any bad stuff, and they're breeding well. And then they will be released from my room, and hopefully they're blue and worth a lot of money, because this would be so cool. Go Leafs, go. Boo you, Josh. Leafs. Can't even buy a team. Yeah. Barrie would be Big Al's, and Barrie would be the closest store to me. Hello, Secklets23. Thanks for joining us. I passed some people. Sorry, I keep flipping over stuff. Hello, Sharon. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. I appreciate it. Joey says the Trans-Canada Guppy Club is out your way. A member of the Canadian. I am well aware of them. The lady that is the president of that club is named Nancy Eglinton, and I would love to get her on here one night. She is has a wealth. A wealth isn't even the proper word. I believe, I know she's been overseas. She goes overseas for guppy shows to judge them. Like she is like the guppy queen. So and there is many other people. I'm not real close with them, but we are Facebook friends, and I do see a lot of their posts of their beautiful guppies in that club. I'm sorry, Dragon Lair. I'm just a carpenter trying to keep up here with all this technology. I'll try to hit your questions. A lot of variables go into the health of guppies, even food. Yes, most definitely. Guppies require quite a bit of protein to keep them going. Thank you. Appreciate that, Sand Creek. Let's get some likes in there. Snails surviving outside. 3. Oh, wow. Good luck with that. Well, none yet. You'll have to wait until the process is complete. And I will. These guys probably may never be ready, but their offspring may be ready. We'll see if their offspring. I have to raise. Basically, nobody is going to see these fish for at least another year, and that's dependent on if they breed for me, and I don't have any problems with their offspring. I'll let their offspring get to at least this size, if not bigger. I'd actually like to see them breed before I release any, just because it's just I don't like the liability of releasing them not knowing if they're exactly what I was looking for or not. And yeah, that's a pain in the ass to ship to the States. You'd maybe have to meet me at the border. We'd have to do a little smuggle job. All right. Yeah, they're being picky as heck. So what I think I'm going to do is I want to show you guys, get my notes out of the way here, these babies I just pulled out. So a lot of people don't get to see babies all that often. So what I'm going to do is I have another camera here. When I get ready to go here, I'm going to put that camera on these guys with a flashlight. These are brand new babies. Their color pigments haven't even really filled in yet. Now, the cool thing I want you guys to observe is their stomachs. You can only see them from the top, but you can see their stomachs. The reason I want you to observe this, and I'm not trying to sell my stuff or anything like that. I don't care if you make them at home yourself. I have a DIY video actually up on making your own log pleco breeding caves. So if you have the tools and whatnot, by all means, make your own. But I want to show you, this is a perfect example. This is a perfect opportunity to show you how they come out after they've been rasping on a wood cave that they were born in and getting all of the biofilm, the fiber from the wood, even the deteriorating wood, because they do deteriorate in your tank. Everything. It just, I think it gives their really gives their digestive system is just that boost it needs to get them started. I have never fed these guys. They're fresh out of the cave. And then beside them, I have some 2-week-old guys that came out of that cave literally 2 weeks before these guys. So I'm going to get this camera ready and I'm going to show you guys. This is all we're going to do here is take this webcam and do it, but I can flip my, you'll still be able to hear me. All right. Okay. So I know it's going to be a little shaky because I'm holding the camera. I don't even got to put a flashlight in there. Let's get a little closer. See how it does. That's pretty good there. I might even be able to just clip it on the side. There. Perfect. I don't even have to hold it. So, yeah, these are just short fin ancestrus. Now look at their, I'm going to say their stomachs, but it's really all their organs. It just, they're already full. Look at the poop already in the container. They've already been eating. They've already had stuff go through their digestive system and whatnot. So this is what I'm saying. The difference between using, I make and sell slate caves as well, and I still think wooden caves are better. Slate caves do grow biofilm. I'm going to say that the male probably takes most of that biofilm himself while he's in there guarding them. But they come out just in better shape, I think. That's bottom line, is especially if it's like a PVC cave or a clay cave, anything like that. Clay does collect a bit of biofilm, but not like the wood does. In a brand new wood cave, I leave all the slivers of wood, so to speak, inside for them to digest as well. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that batch. I don't know if you can see. There we go. That was that entire batch. Now, I'm going to move that. I just brought the breeder box that they're in over. They poop a lot, these guys. But these guys are literally 2 weeks old. And let's see if we can focus in. The water stops moving, maybe. But just for a size comparison, there, that's better. These guys are from the exact same cave 2 weeks later. So how I get these guys to this point, which I think that is a very large size difference. If you look at that versus that, you don't get a direct comparison very often. That is pounding a lot of spirulina powder to them and a lot of my homemade food. That food that you see the link up for that Zen Ginger put up for you. So yeah, that's the difference you're going to get between 2 weeks. There, I hope everybody could see that all okay and everything. But I thought that it's just neat to see an exact comparison at exactly 2 weeks with baby short fin plecos. Let's see where we are here. Oh, I'm a little bit behind again. Time is a good thing to prepare your tanks and all of that situation. I tend to get things ready before I buy. It makes life a lot easier in the long run. Patience. Oh, I hate telling someone to have patience because people who don't have patience to be told that they don't have patience. But I will say, as maybe I'm aging myself a bit, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot more patient with stuff. Like I let shrimp tanks generally cycle for like 8 weeks before I even think of putting a shrimp in them. Sharon Miller says, I have red and albino long fins, but yours are very unusual. Did you breed them? Yeah, you missed the first part of this live stream. I'll give you a very quick recap. These are my own breeding. This is the 6th generation, actually, of line breeding to try and get this color variant. I'm going for a blue. I have on, not all of them, not all of those fish in there have a tint of blue on them, and the ones that don't will get removed from the group. This is my future breeding group for these guys. I think they will do well. And yeah, I'm going for a blue Ancestress is what I'm trying. You could really see right now the shine on them right there. It's got a weird tint to it. Yes, thank you very much, Zen. Yeah, those are the caves right there. If you don't want to buy them, you can make them. Jan, I'm working with a short fin white, snow white Ancestress. They will not take anything vegetable, carnivore only, trying to get them to spawn. Very different from, Well, my thoughts are is you're going to end up with some bloat issues, possibly, not always, obviously. Yeah, I do find most variants of Ancestress are fairly tolerant to bloat. But if you get too much, this was actually spoke on a live stream today, I heard, and I'm not a very fast typer, so I don't type a lot of answers to people when I'm listening to stuff, or if I'm hearing a bit of bullshit. I'm not very quick on typing, but I so wanted to type on it. And it was a supposed professional speaking about diet for not just Ancestress, but Plecos, everything. And I did disagree a little bit with what they were saying, and they were saying to offer a bit of terrestrial meat to them. And I'm gonna now, discus breeders have been doing it for years. Many fish breeders have been doing it for years, offering beef heart and whatnot. That's fine. I would never feed that solely to them. And maybe discus have a bit different digestive system, but I know for a fact, and the reason I'm saying I know for a fact is because this information came from a good friend of mine at my local aquarium club who happens to be in a top position at a fish food manufacturing plant. He knows what he's talking about. He knows about fish nutrition. In fact, he calls it another word that's not even fish nutrition. I can't think of it. But anyways, flat out, he says that terrestrial protein is not as efficient as water protein. And when I'm saying water protein, he probably didn't use that word either, but I say it's not as efficient as protein from fish, shrimp, crabs, bugs. Even bugs are good for fish. Fish eat bugs. They digest them really well. They don't digest cow real well. And I think the only way the beef heart does work really well is because it's usually chopped up really good or even ground. So they can get it down. But I would say try slipping some veggies in with it. try something with spirulina. I've never seen an Ancestress turn down spirulina. I'd like to show you my food, but it's not near me. Yeah, they should try some green beans. Try some blanched green beans or canned green beans. Try to get the no salt stuff. Rinse them off. Try shelling some peas. Getting the peas out of the shells. Zucchini. Well, you can see mine there. Now, I have noticed that some Ancestress I have brought into my fish room that somebody else bred, and I can tell they did not feed them a whole lot of zucchini. Sometimes it took them a little while to get on it, but I just keep putting it in until they take it, and they will. It's I do feed a lot of zucchini. I feed enough zucchini that in the summertime I have a little wee little garden. I have more zucchini growing in my garden than anything else because it's more expensive to feed my fish that stuff than it is my kids. Sorry, I'm getting a little behind again. Hello, Gnarly Fish Tanks. Can't remember if I said hello or not. Hello, Bob. Good to see you. Bob from Kaler's Aquatics. Nathan Fishboy, hello. Thank you for posting that for me, Bob. Appreciate it. Yes, exactly. There's a lot of things that shorten fish's life. There's a lot of stuff about temperature and whatnot. I don't know. I think I'm more of a moderate temperature person for my fish. I don't like them being in warm water. Depends on the species. I do have some L128s. In my L128s, it's like 83, I think their tank is. But these guys you're looking at on that screen right there, their water's 70, maybe 72. I don't keep it very warm. Most of my Ancestress breeding tanks are 70, 72. And the young fry tank, the 90-gallon tank that this breeder box here that I just showed you is attached to. It has a heater, and I keep it at 74, 75. So if you have your temperature too high for them, that obviously increases their metabolism, and they will go through life faster. Same with your guppies; they will go through life faster, and especially for Ancestress, any vegetable eating animal. A lot of them are almost strictly algae eaters in the wild, like Mbuna cichlids and whatnot. Their digestive systems aren't built for a lot of protein. So that's why I go mainly vegetables. Yes, Bob and I do go way back. And I'm glad you're happy with those caves, Bob. Not to mention, Bob has been a guest on my show as well. He was a fantastic guest. I feed beef heart flakes to my discus, but if you aren't trying to breed them, it doesn't matter as much apparently. So I only feed twice a week and other omnivorous foods and frozen stuff other days. Very good. This is how we share information, see, because that works for Zen Ginger. She realized that may not have been benefiting a lot, but the fish like it. We like to give them treats too, so you just tone it down a little bit. Look at that big fat belly on the glass in front of you after getting some zucchini. And just so everybody knows, that zucchini is not blanched. It's just a piece cut raw. The proteins of mammals are a lot different than those of water life, I agree. Beef heart causes a lot of problems for African cichlids. Feed them worms. That's an interesting point about the worms. I actually had most of the kids outside last night help me try and pick worms, but it's been so damn cold here lately. they weren't too plentiful. I didn't get enough to. I'm gonna start feeding a lot of them to a lot of my fish, whether I have to cut them up, and a lot of my fish will just take them whole. But earthworms, what I do before I almost like milk them, I get all the crap out of them, essentially dirt out of the worm, and then I will drop it in the tank, rinse it off. Okay, I think we're almost caught up here. Green beans and zucchini are staples for my plecos, but took 3 months to get them to eat green beans. They were zucchini addicts. Yeah, they get stuck on a type of food and they want to stick with it. That's how I switch mine up, like I said, between different stuff and pellets. And again, a lot of my own homemade food. I know a lot of people aren't going to go through the hassle of making their own food. A lot of people, all they ever feed their plecos is algae wafers. And that's okay too. To be totally honest, I'm cheap. I'm really, really cheap. And I try to find a cheap way. And I had a little light bulb go off, whatever. And I'm looking at all this duckweed I was throwing out. I was throwing out duckweed left, right, and center, or feeding it to Petey the turtle upstairs or whatever. And I thought, started doing some reading. There's got to be something to this. Goldfish eat duckweed, like all kinds of fish eat duckweed, and it's apparently really good for them. So I started researching, and yeah, it's fantastic for them. It's like a superfood. We should be eating it apparently, but it's like a kelp or something like that. It's a superfood. So I started actually using a lot of duckweed that I had to mix into the food that I was feeding them, and yeah, the results have been nothing short of fantastic. Essentially better than any store-bought product that I've used. I do get nervous, however, that I may be missing some nutrients in it because I'm not a scientist. I've never had it tested to get a guaranteed analysis of it or anything. So I do feed commercial foods as well, just in case I'm missing something. But I do enjoy the fact my food is 100% preservative free, everything. And the stuff I bake in the oven, actually, it lasts for a long time before going bad, just leaving it in a Ziploc bag. I know it's rough, Bob, isn't it? I'm gonna knock on some wood. I've never had a problem in the chat. Never. Nobody's ever came in and started crap or anything. This chat's always been fantastic. Everybody who watches this channel's always been super, super fantastic. How are you, JH Aquatics? The L number of this pleco doesn't deserve an L number. It's actually, I don't know, there's a lot of debate in the world. They're incestuous. So I guess if we want to call them L44, 144s, we can. But they're not true L144s. They've been tank bred for so long and crossed and crossed and crossed and crossed and line bred that I wouldn't give them an L number now. They're just long fin incestuous. Chewy, you've seen some of my magenta spins off. I'm going to preview those that have stayed most like their dad 5 generations ago. They're magenta, metallic, round, and spade tails. How would you name? I have to see the coloration. Very good. Yeah, it's great. It looks like you essentially the only thing that I personally would take out of this feeding schedule would be the bloodworms. I would take them out. I would rather feed them frozen brine shrimp over bloodworms or mist shrimp, frozen Daphnia. The bloodworms I find are a little rich for them. But a lot of people feed them bloodworms. I just choose not to. I didn't like the results I was getting from bloodworms. The odd time I would feed bloodworms, once in a while I'd find a dead baby or two. the next day, and I would assume it's from bloat. And that's the other thing I look at a lot too. Like what a lot of yous don't see is how many babies I actually do keep around here. So I have a 90-gallon tank with tons, and that's my grow out tank. So I get to study these guys quite a bit. I study quite a bit about what's working for them. Yeah, I study them quite a bit, and I try to be very subjective when I am studying them. I try to look at it like, okay, I made this food, so like, am I going to be biased and think that it's just really, really good for them because I made it? I want to feel like a hero. No, I try to look at it and go, well, and I've had a lot of duds on the food. I've had food that won't even touch, that won't even go near it. So I go, okay, that's a dud. Let's try again. And then for the longest time, it was to get food to sink. I was having a hard time. But I got that figured out too. There's a lot of learning curves, so take advantage of my learning curves and just watch the video and figure out how to do it. But again, like I said, it's it's hard. I try to be very subjective, and if something works, it works, and that's the way I keep it. Look at the tint on that little guy that just came out in front here. I bet you that's a female for one because of the size, but that's just beautiful colors. I see Hi Bryce here. Who are we talking about? All right. Where are we? Yes. So I'm saying, I guess that's what you have, JH Aquatics. Yeah, that's what they call them, L144, blue eye gold. I don't have any of them myself. I have some albinos, and I have a lot of actually now I'm starting to get quite a collection of green dragon albinos, which a lot of people call them a pineapple. And I should showcase that one night, catch one, and let everybody get a very close look at it. They have like a line going through them, which I don't know. That's why people call them a pineapple. And yeah, so I do have some of them. Big City Betas, welcome. You need these plecos. I'm almost, so you're almost Canadian, are you? Vermont's pretty far from me. I'm in Ontario, but now as I've said earlier, I'm still no, I've never sold one yet. These guys are pretty young still. They're about 6 months. They should start breeding anytime. And when they breed, I'm going to judge their offspring. And if their offspring are defect free and they're what I'm looking for, then I will start offering them to the public. That's a big male that just popped in there. That's definitely going to be a keeper in the breeding group. Yeah, you call them black snake skins, eh? The guy who I got them from, y'all remember Trevor that used to come on here? I got these off of Trevor, and yeah, he called them black metallics, but yeah, they do look like a snake skin. I've honestly paid no attention to them. Really, very, very little. I've never researched like what they should look like compared to what they look like or anything. I've been just letting them grow out. They're pretty young, pretty much fry when I got them. So I'm letting them grow out and see what they look like. But yeah, they might be just black snake skins. That's kind of what I thought they looked like. Oh, we got some fighting going on. We might have to have a contest or something for the first fry. Give everybody a fair shake. But I don't know, Dragon Lair. I don't know. Zen does a lot of stuff for me around here. No, they're just incestuous. Just incestuous. All right. I made her. Oh, almost made her to the bottom. Here we go. Yes, they do have a metallic gene in them. I would have to see if it is affected by, I can't even say that word, Ziberinus gene or pure lace. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll put them in a breeder box one of my live streams and put them on the and put them on my desk here for my next live stream, and let you have a closer look at them, and I'll put a female in there too. Yeah. Yep, you're totally correct. You get there's some crazy Pleco breeders out there that get some very decent Plecos. But that being said, you got to start somewhere, and they all started somewhere too. And it's where you end up, I guess, and what you're trying to achieve out of what you have. I'm actually very happy with these guys, and I'll say why. I think these fins are going to be even longer than their parents. So if you guys will give me literally, what time are we at? Am I going really, really late here? I can't even see. We're not too bad here. I'm going to put the camera on their parents, and you can see how long their parents' fins are. And I think these fins are going to get even longer. So give me 1 sec, guys. Hello. So there's a female out of the parent group. She's looking pretty frayed. She, I believe she just spawned not very long ago, but there's not a male not a male we want to see anyways, out at the piece of zucchini. One may come. They're a little bit more skittish, these guys, because I just leave them alone, essentially, let them do their thing. But you can see, other than they're tattered from breeding, you can see the finnage on her. They have quite some nice finnage on them anyways. Yes, thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. I hope the male comes out, because other than it's got dirty glass, it's hard to see. That male's got a set of horns on him. I call him the grandfather. He is actually the father to these younger ones we were just looking at. So yeah, if he comes out, you guys can see him. He's a fantastic fish. Small fry aquatics. I think I know my way around a Pleco tank, and this guy is unbelievable. Dude, you are hidden gold. I'll be picking your brain for as much as you will let me. Like I said earlier, small fry, I have nothing to hide. And actually, I didn't even finish my thought on that when I did start mentioning that. The reason I have nothing to hide, another reason anyways, other than the fact that I just love to share information, is that most people aren't willing to put the work in. So I don't mind putting the information out there, because a lot of the ways I do things and whatnot is generally labor intensive, patience, or a lot of people just don't want to put the work in to get into what they really want, or creating new color variants and whatnot. There's a very, very select few people that are willing to do that, from what I've experienced, anyways, from the people I talk to, because I obviously talk to other people that do this kind of stuff too, because we have a common interest. Um, but most people just really are. Most people want to breed fish, and I'm not saying you're one of these people. I'm hoping you're not, because you seem like you're not. You seem like you want the information, but most people. Um, don't want to put the time and dedication in, and the amount of time to achieve something that's not instant gratification. It's very, very easy to breed Ancestress plecos. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. Add water, add male, female, add a hiding spot for them to do their thing, and the male will guard them. The male will do all the work. When they leave their hiding spot, if you have other fish in the tank, they may eat the babies, but if you don't, the babies will just go. I do have different tactics of doing it. Like you see, I have a small breeder box here with 2-week-old plecos in it. I won't cut them loose in a 90-gallon tank yet. I will sit there and I will go every day and clean out the breeder boxes of all the debris, feed them, sometimes 2-3 times a day, and I get them fat right up and get used to all different kinds of foods I feed them before I cut them loose in the big tank, because I want the food right in front of their face. And most people would just cut them loose in the big tank. Most people would just leave them in the tank with their parents if they didn't have other fish in there. But again, they will not get the food. The parents will bump them out of the way for food, and they won't get the food that they need to get that start. So just a lot of my general breeding tactics, a lot of people won't put the effort in to do, let alone start going generation after generation after generation to try and acquire something or make their own food or find different ways to do things. Most people won't do that. So I feel very safe sharing information, and the people that are willing to do it, I hope they use it and come up with something totally cool. See if we got any more questions here. I don't see any more questions, and I've essentially covered everything I need to cover. I don't generally go too late on a Monday night. An hour is about it's about my maximum. Is there any more questions, or is there anything else around the fish room that you guys have wanted to see that I haven't showcased in some time? I'll wait for a couple of minutes here to see if something pops up, and if not, we may just call this a wrap. But there is some other stuff. I think I'm going to do an episode looking at live bears in the room very soon. Very soon. I don't have a lot of live bears, but I do have some Emica splendens that are looking quite nice, and their tanks come along quite nice that I wouldn't mind showcasing. Maybe we'll have a better look at some of these different guppies that I have. I had just given 100 or so to local fish store short fins that Dan's Fish wanted 100 this week. Bad timing. Yeah, it is. And I before all this nonsense started here, the way we're living right now, I almost primarily sold to local fish stores. That's primarily what I did. And now I've actually started doing way more retail sales, because I am doing the deliveries, the 1 day a week deliveries. And I'm doing quite a big loop. I'm going to the GTA and Kitchener and back to Barrie again and back up to Aurelia. So that's been working out good too. But I have some good relationships with local fish stores in Ontario, and I'm probably one of the bigger pleco suppliers. A lot of that comes from developing a friendship and a good business relationship with local fish stores. Yeah, she's not gold. She is albino. the male that just came on the other side, that would be that female one that you think's Gold Sun, actually. And yeah, he's good looking too. But no, they're not gold. They are just straight up albino. There's a lot of duckweed in that tank. The whole surface of that tank is covered in duckweed. So it probably does mess with the lighting a little bit. Green dragons, I find the green dragons don't grow very big. I find 4-inch is about where you're going to go. Maybe 4.5 inches. I do have green. I see small fries saying here. Yeah, those aren't green dragons, but I do have short fin green dragons. The tank we scaped is looking pretty good. It needs some maintenance. It's got a lazy owner. There's some algae getting all over stuff, but it's actually, wow, it's blossomed. Let me see if I can get the camera on that tank. I don't know if that camera will go down low enough, but give me 1 second. I'll get it on this tank. You can help me explain it, Zen. We'll see if this works here. Give me 1 sec. Not bad. I'll see if I can get it a little bit better. Just using a bucket to hold the. It's difficult to set that one up. You can kind of see it there anyways. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. It's yeah, it's coming along pretty good. All the shrimp are still alive in there. It's just growing like crazy. I don't know if how many people on here remember this, but we actually what I did was I was actually kind of stumped for an idea what to do on a live stream. So I said, hey, I got a tank ready, cycled, ready to go. And I got a pile of plants, got a pile of rocks and stuff. And what we did was the viewers of the live stream helped me scape it, told me where to put stuff, whatnot. And it turned out like totally awesome. But yes, Zen, it has grown. It has grown. Oh, sorry, wrong one. It has grown like crazy. It's grown absolutely mad. There is a lot of algae there, but I am planning on having a lot more shrimp in here. So what we actually did was we put in all different kinds of shrimp in here. There's some blue bolts in there. There's some blue bolts in there. There's some crystal reds. There's some black King Kongs, red King Kongs, pintos. I just did a smorgasbord of different kinds of Caridina. So we're just going to, this is a throw everything in and let's see what comes out of it type of deal. So I'm going to leave all that algae on the moss and everything because when they start popping babies, that will all get eaten up well. So Yep, that's where we're at for that tank right now. That was honestly probably the funnest I've ever had on a live stream, Bob, because it was really neat. It was totally interactive. You guys did a great job, had some great insight of doing things a way I probably would have never set a tank up close to like that. This tank has the inspiration of, like, I don't know, I think there was 15, 20 people involved in that. And it worked out really, really cool. Hey, Chevy Fish, thanks for joining us. Fish Tropics back. Yeah, that's our store there. Thank you, Bob. And yeah, you can find our caves there too, what we've been talking. The cave you actually see on the right-hand side of your screen, that's a male in the opening of that cave right there. That cave's been in there for a couple of years now. And that's about what I find they last, 2 to 3 years, and they got them all chewed right up. So our next... So the ones you had on camera, the first, are the offspring of an albino and a normal color? No, actually, they're the offspring of 2 albinos. I know that sounds wrong, but it's true. They are the offspring of 2 albinos, but the 2 albinos that produced them have recessive brown genes. And then, well, I should backtrack this. The original ones had a recessive brown genes, and then obviously I kept going with the recessive brown gene. And when I got offspring, I would put those offspring together to use that recessive gene. And I noticed the tint started going on the gene. So I kept using and line breeding back to the grandfather, because I think he's the one who started this. I think I'm right, because it's been working. So yeah. Yep, it started with 2 albinos. Oh, fantastic, Bob. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I remember you telling me on our live stream, I believe it was, that you actually had some green phantoms breed in those caves for you, because that's freaking awesome. That's correct. I can't do plants or fish to the US, but I can do all caves, cholla wood, supplies, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a crapshoot, Dragon's Lair. I'm, to be totally honest, like I'm not a geneticist. I'm not a biologist. Any of that, but what I am is someone who watches stuff and someone who pays attention. Oh, I bet you my camera just died. I know the battery was getting low over there, but yes, I don't know how I come up with it, but when I see something working or something going in the direction that I want it to go, I exploit that. And I guess that's the easiest way I can explain it. Not really knowing what I'm doing, other than being observational, seeing what's going on, taking appropriate steps when I observe something I like or I don't like, and carrying on with the direction I want to go. Yes, I've collected alder cones a lot of times. The best collection time I did with alder cones, also, I think it was the last time I went with my son, he's now 16. He came with me, surprisingly, because he never wants to do anything with me. But he came with me, and we found a huge tree that was just loaded. And he climbed up that tree like a monkey, man. He was up there shaking them all down for me. We hit the mother load, and they're the nicest alder cones I've ever seen. So yeah, I enjoy going out. Excuse me. I enjoy going out and collecting them. It gets me out in the bush and some fresh air. And if I sell a few bags of them, it pays for my gas going to do it. Yeah, so where I use alder cones in my fish room is pretty much any soft water tank I have, or a tank I need to buffer a bit. So shrimp love them. They go in all my shrimp tanks. They go in most of my pleco tanks, and my 72-gallon bow front has probably 50 of them in it because I'm trying to alter that water chemistry. What do we got here? Yeah, so I just purchased some stuff out of the States today, and I had to pay $1.32 for $1 American, $1.32 for $1.32 Canadian for $1 American. So yeah, it is pretty economical for you guys south of us, and quite frankly, they're economical for people in Canada too. I have them priced very well. Really, Dragon Lair, I thought you got less albino than regular, even with a direct cross. But I do know you have to have albino on both sides to get them. Most of the time. But when you have a fairly pure strain of albino and you get two recessive brown genes, those genes will eventually not become recessive. Those will become the genes, especially when you've exploited that. Another example, when we talk about recessive genes and whatnot and how colors are made, everybody needs to remember too that sometimes it just doesn't make sense, because I know the person who started the Green Dragon coloration, which I own, they throw a lot of albinos, and guess what? The Green Dragon coloration was started with albinos. So that throws all your ideology out the window for everybody, right? But that's what happened. So to be quite honest with you, I'm not always that smart, but I'm pretty good at retaining information. I'm pretty good at listening to people that know what they're talking about. So when I seen that information, and I seen that information probably 6-7 years ago, that I figured I could do the same thing with a different coloration, and that's what I'm working on. I'm on generation of the same thing. It's a throwback to the original F1, and then line bred takes huge patience. Yeah, it takes years of patience, and if you're going to be responsible about it, it takes twice as long. Oh yes, I remember. I overcharged you, so I try to keep on that. The Green Dragons still have not spawned long fins from Greg Sage. He's advised me a few times, but so far celibate. I guess first things you got to look at, Bob, if you have, I know you have some good caves, but you may require some more caves. I would give a selection. I don't always go with the same cave. In every one of my breeding tanks, I go a slate and the wood cave. Sometimes I go with just the two clay saucers with a hole punched out, little 1.5-inch hole punched out on one side, and sometimes they pick that. I will say most of the time they pick the wood cave. Some of my long fins actually do pick the slate caves. I think they just maybe have an easier time trapping the females in them. because they are only 1.25 inch caves that I have in for slate caves with them. Whereas the wood caves, over time, as they eat out the inside of the wood, that they become a larger diameter, or I have some that are over 2 inch diameter now, probably. And the males may have a harder time trapping the females when the openings get that big. The other thing, I know you feed your fish like crazy, and I know you do water changes like crazy. I'd say try doing a water change with a 2 degrees colder water going in. Do like a 30% water change. And if you keep them at 74, 76, do it at like 72. And for 30%, that might trigger them. Yeah, those are some tricks I've tried. Heavy feeding, heavy on the zucchini. Give them a big stick of zucchini to chew on too. It is said in a lot of circles, a line is graded on percentage of fry that looks similar. Below 80% can be an issue. Well, that I would say that's probably a lot of truth to that. And the circles that I know is the same thing. If you're, it doesn't matter what kind of fish we're talking about, whether it's plecos, whether it's guppies. If you're breeding a line of guppies, and I'm not going to say your call rate, because most people who breed a line of guppies are extremely picky about their breeders, and anything that's not going to be a breeder is a call. So I'm not going to say your call rate, but your actual doesn't come out that color, doesn't come out that body shape, like not even close. Everything else should be well below 80%. And if you have a pure line and you're getting 20 out of every 100 fry that don't conform to that size, shape, or color, there was probably a little bit more outcrossing done than should have been. Yeah, I'll leave that alone. Well, you should be good to go. Just patience and a lot of zucchini. Oh, we're getting into flowers now. I breed passion flowers, and I don't know what that word is. And in Carnetta, there are pure white ones, but breeding white to white never gives you white offspring. The thought is that the color genes are more that one place, are in more that one place. And no two genes are the same expression mode. Will plecos and autos eat squash like zucchini? Most definitely will. I don't know about the autos, but I assume they will. I've actually never owned an auto, so I cannot speak on the autos, but depending on what kind of plecos you're talking about, other than my camera's dead, but like I'm looking over at my 72-gallon tank, and I put a chunk of zucchini in for my L128s, and they love zucchini, even though I give them a little bit more protein than I do the Ancestress, and that's because they're a hemi-Ancestress. They're a different genus of Plecostomus, and yeah, they enjoy a bit more meat. So it depends on the species you're talking about as well. But I don't see any of them that it would actually hurt them giving zucchini. Sort of sounds like the issues dealing with the red alpha swordtail, where a ruby red genetic is still involved, last I heard. I need a sip of my tea. I have a longfin red male and two longfin red longfin females that aren't ready to breed, but he bred longfin albino and got all browns. Yep, very, very likely. Most of the time, the genetics seem to go back to brown when you start mixing them up. I'm actually doing a little tea in my face. I'm actually doing a little experiment in with some green dragons and browns. I have a brown male, and I've bred them to green dragon females. and those babies weren't quite ready to bring out to show you guys. They still have pretty big egg sacs on them. So I want to, and we'll have a look at them compared to these plecos here. These should be browns and albinos. That's all these are here. And we'll have a look and see if the coloration is any different at all. And that's a cool thing about having lots of babies, different kinds. We can compare them. I can take a magnifying glass to them and see what's going on with them and what's different and what's not different about them. Yeah, there's lots. I have like a mystery pleco in my big 180 tank here. Well, big for me. And I don't know what kind it is. Everyone says, oh, it's just a common sailfin. I swear it's not. But anyways, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is and just stunted from the person I got it from. I don't know. But it's not very big. It's only 6 or 7 inches. And usually in my tanks, if I have like a common pleco that people like to give me because they outgrew their tanks, man, I grow them like an inch a month. So, and this guy hasn't grown in 2 years. So I don't know what it is. But yeah, anyways, people, I think that's about it for me tonight. We've gone over our time, and I know there is streams coming up behind me. I don't like to overlap too much. I'm not here to tick people off, but at the same time, I'm not on a deadline either. If we're having a good discussion and we're getting some good information out, that's what makes me happy. So I got through a lot of what I wanted to, actually everything I wanted to talk to you guys about. Yeah, I think we need to do a live bear discussion maybe on another live stream. And we'll talk about Amicus splendens, and maybe we'll talk about some guppies, and I may bring some specimens to my desk here that we can look at up and close. Thank you to everybody who moderated for me tonight, and thank you to everybody who watched us tonight and took part in the chat. So until next time, happy fish keeping, and stay safe, everyone. Bye for now.